Hi everyone, this is Sarah Means from the HR Product Management team, and this is an overview demonstration of the Promotion Employee Experience Content Pack. This content pack is a new pack available on the Share website where you can download it and install it into your own instance. The idea is that it provides to you a best practice example of how to handle onboarding, as well as be an implementation accelerator. There's a lot of stuff that's included in this content pack, and in order to demonstrate how it works correctly and how it is supposed to flow, I'll go through a full demonstration to walk you through all of the different activities that are included. So to begin, we're going to be logged in as a manager. I'm using my demo portal from my internal ServiceNow instance. If you want to follow along or use this on a developer instance, go ahead and use the /ESC. That will allow you to follow along and do all of the same actions that you see me doing in this instance that has some example branding and formatting for the purposes of our demos. I'm currently logged in as a manager user. So this is Maria. Maria manages a small team on the customer service side. And one of her employees, Emily, has been doing really well over the past year, and her team have decided to give Emily a promotion. Now, this journey can be pretty confusing for managers, especially if they haven't done this before, in terms of what steps they need to do, what type of guidance should they be providing, and what do they need to do with HR to get this moving. So if we go ahead and take a look, we can search for promotion. With this content pack, there are two new services. There's the promotion request itself, as well as another just general mobility question service that you can utilize, as well as 16 new knowledge articles that are basically templates and placeholders for best practice content that we believe should be included with a process like this to help all of the parties involved. You can get to this content from this page here by any of these links, as well as they are related to this request as other items that might be relevant at the bottom. So let's select our employee and get this process moving. Emily is the individual we want to be promoting. This is filtering just based off of Maria's direct reports, the person that I'm logged in as. And we'll just make some updates. So her title is changing. She's going to be moving to the Director of Customer Support. Her work title is changing as well. She's going to be a senior director. We'll update her department. Actually, we'll leave that as is. She's not moving locations, but she's changing managers. So this could be a promotion within Maria's team. In this case, we're actually moving her to a new manager. If we look at Liam, he's going to be the person in charge. And then if we take a look, we're going to just put her date a little bit out in the future here for when that's going to happen. A couple of other questions here. If you want to attach anything, again, those related resources are available as well. This is going to take us through a number of different phases of the lifecycle event. Essentially, we need to get through the preparation, get HR involved, and make sure that all parties, including the existing manager and the new manager, as well as Emily, the person going to be promoted, understand what's happening and communicate effectively. So I personally like the view with the dots, so I'm just going to do a quick update here to see the phases of what we're going through here. So these is a preview of all of the different sections we'll be looking at. Essentially, in the beginning, if Maria hasn't been a manager very long or hasn't needed to promote anyone in a while, it's helpful for her to get this information up front. This is stuff that's included in the knowledge articles as well, but she can go ahead and make sure that she has prepared effectively before they start to get approvals and start moving this ball too far forward, because if she missed any of this information, it could end up causing her issues down the line. For demo purposes, I'm not going to check all the boxes. We'll just move that optional task forward. We then get into our review and validation. This is HR activities. So Harry Taylor is the person that is assigned in my environment to take care of these items. He needs to validate and update the HCM before we can move forward. So let's take a look at Harry. And on his dashboard, again, he has more of an internal view because he works in the HR department. He has a new item that came in right away. This is the case that Maria just opened for Emily. And because it's assigned to him, he's going to receive that update that he has something new to work on. And we can see again all of the phases, even the fact that Maria is looking at the case, and we can start working on our activities. Now, we have our specific information here about the promotion and or transfer. We can see the new role, the new item, the fact that Liam is going to be the new manager. This is the part in which he validates this information is correct. He's going to say that yes, he did that, that's closed. And he might need to update some additional information and potentially link over to his HCM to update that as well and do that official kickoff in that solution, since that is our system of record. So he's going to update those and potentially update some of this information here as well, so that we can get to our approvals. The approvals that exist within this demonstration example, there are 5 of them. There is an HR approval, there are 2 manager approvals, and 2 manager approvals. So essentially the old and the new management team needs to be on board to be able to move this forward. Now, the people that I've chosen for my demo, actually one of them happens to be a manager of both of these individuals, so we're not seeing all 5, but that is what is available with the share content here. So I'm going to approve as Harry, since I'm already logged in as him, but just to expedite the demo, I'm going to go in as our administrator and go ahead and approve these other items. So if we refresh, we can see that those have been approved. The state at the top will have been adjusted as well. So we're moving towards a ready state and we have that approval. So just to get some of these visuals moving, we need to make sure that all of those are active. There's actually one other activity here that I believe Harry needs to complete, which is making sure that after he's gotten those approvals, that he can complete his transaction. So I'll just go ahead and update that as well so that we can move forward into our communications and preparation phase. With the formal communications, there are a couple of tasks that happen. There's an email notification that goes out to the person being promoted, so that would be Emily in this use case. I won't show that email notification, but it's a great way to, send her a congratulatory note. Another way in which we might want to notify her is with an official letter. So in this case, Harry has been assigned to generate and validate that letter that her management team can send to her and make sure that, she's kept up to date and actually has that official record of when and what will be happening, because a lot of times that's a cause of confusion within organizations. You might have been told you've been promoted, but you're not sure when your official date might be and when that change in your compensation might be happening. So this is a great way to alleviate that. If we take a look, Harry's just going to validate the document. Again, this is all coming from Emily's profile, so whatever that connection to that system of record is, we can see her current position, which is that Director of Finance, her new position, and her effective date, as well as her new management team. We might also want to include a salary increase in here. I don't have salary information in the update set or in the out-of-the-box build, but if that is something you want to include, or potentially just have Harry, our HR person, add that in, that's why he needs to review this document first before Maria can sign it. So let's save this template here. And we'll go ahead and set Maria's task to ready so that she can sign off on that document and download it and send it away to her employee. So at this point, let's go back and check on Maria. We have a whole bunch of new tasks that have been generated for her. This has all been happening as I've been updating and been logged in as Harry. And if we take a look for the communications, she has 3 items. She has the signing the letter, which we just looked at. So because Harry was able to validate this and get it set up for her, it's all ready to go. We can go ahead and draw our signature in here. This allows her to take advantage and really get that information that she needs. So if we go ahead and download that letter, which will be available for her in her employee file, as well as if she ever wants to go back and take a look at that. So if we see all of our activities here, she can go ahead and download that letter from here. There we can see our letter. So we'll go ahead and download that. We can communicate that job change. So essentially there's some notification information in here about sending that letter out to make sure that that's completed. And then she is opted in to take a new survey. So we have a number of touch points along this journey to engage with the existing manager, the future manager, the person being promoted, to make sure that they're giving us valuable feedback around if this is helpful or not. So there's our pulse survey, and we'll complete some of these. So we'll say yes. I was able to find all the information. I had all the support that I needed. And we'll submit. Now that she's completed all of her items, we just need Harry to sign off on the letter here. So I'm just going to briefly go back into my view as Harry and go ahead and complete this item. So again, if for whatever reason Maria has questions, he can send her the document himself via email or whatever medium they're looking for. Finally, there's some transitional items. So when we think about planning for the transition, it's going to be how can the new manager reach out? How can the existing manager put together a plan? So when we think about how this process can be really helpful for users, it's going to be all around giving that appropriate guidance. So let me go ahead and just refresh one more time. There's 5 activities in here. We can see they're really focused on things like reviewing the checklist. So Harry has some items. I'm going to drill into this task specifically to give you an idea. This is showing some of the extensibility of leveraging other departments. So if you did have ServiceNow Enterprise, you could go ahead and throw in these other tasks for the other departments. In this case, they're just kind of checkpoints here for HR to get involved if they need to. And he can go ahead and check up on those items and say that he's completed when he's done. So giving HR and Harry the guidance that he needs, as well as if we take a look at the other activities that are available for both Maria and Emily, there's some transition planning that needs to happen. So I'll just show you these examples and then we'll get into the last final 2 phases, which happen on the date of transition. So switching back to our manager, Maria, if we take a look at the activities here in the planning phase, let's see her actions. She needs to review some recommendations. So this is a great way, again, to leverage some of that pre-configured knowledge content. These are templates, so you update them with whatever information is relevant for you. So we'll say, yes, this was helpful. We'll give it a rating, go back and complete our activity. And then we also need to get that transition plan situated. So there's 2 tasks, one for Emily, the person being promoted, as well as one for Maria, making sure that she's guiding her in the right direction, just so we're touching on all angles. Again, utilizing, there's actually a knowledge template with a transition plan that has some things that need to be filled out. So there's some different text in there that you would download and edit depending on what needs to happen. All right, I won't go in as Emily. Essentially, this last task is just basically telling her to communicate if Maria has not already reached out, but obviously because of the tasks that we've already assigned to her, she is well aware of what needs to happen and is already down that path. So for the sake of the demo, I'm going to do a little bit of demo magic and fast forward this. At the moment, her start date is not until the end of the month. I'm going to go ahead and just expedite this a little bit so that we can switch her start date to today. Again, typically, if you want to do this within your own environment, you'd need to make sure that her start date was set to today when you requested this item. So I'm just going to get both of these last 2 items, or these last 2 phases situated. So these last 2 items both happen when her start date occurs. So basically all I did was change her start date to today with a little bit of that demo magic. So you'll notice the date has updated, which allows me to trigger these last activities. And all that's happening here, if we take a look at our task list before we jump into our final user, is things like making sure that Emily has access to training. So this would be an integration to a learning management solution. So we have a placeholder for that. We have a lot of tasks for Liam, her new manager. So getting her check-ins ready, getting her goals ready. If Emily is a manager herself, she needs to set up her own one-on-ones with direct reports, as well as checking in with some survey metrics. So just to round things out to show you the final user, Liam, if we go to his to-dos, he has all of those items that we just saw on kind of the back-end task list. And those are all going to be helpful for him to complete this. So it's things like scheduling those check-ins, which is just a reminder. He can say, yes, he's done that. And there's also more, guidance type of activities that take him to, again, some of that knowledge content that I've been referring to. for example, this performance goal. We could look at this. It talks about SMART goals. This is one of those knowledge templates. So he can use this to make sure that he's doing the right and giving the right guidance to Emily as she comes onto his team. And there's also a workflow in the background that actually updates Emily's job. So we are utilizing the new jobs table that was generated with the New York release. This allows a user to have a record of the jobs that they've had, as well as potentially have multiple jobs active at the same time. So basically what this allows us to do is when that transition happens and when she switches from, her current position to that senior director, behind the scenes, the workflow automatically replaces her profile, her HR profile, with this information. So that all happened in the background as well. So it takes a lot of the automation and works really nicely so that HR just really has to validate and make sure that it aligns with the HCM solution and that all comes together. So we can finish up with our survey, very similar to the other one, just making sure, kind of getting a checkpoint in which we can get some feedback about the journey in total. So that concludes the demo of what's included with the Promotions Employee Experience Pack. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks.